kind of hateful to Timmy. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that or not, but I didn't like the way she would, her actions were towards him. And I think he was trying his best to tell Eric that BJ was over there. And I thought he
How
looked
was he?
terribly upset.
How was he getting hurt on top of his scalp?
Oh, I think
That
it's
really
kind of,
troubled me.
well, he's had that on his head for a while and he picks at it. And when he
Right.
gets nervous and upset, he picks. So I guess it's
Yeah.
sort of like a,
Oh,
you know, uh, I think, when sometimes people with special needs or autistic, I
hmm
guess it's
yeah, my
stimming, they'll pick
yeah,
at something. And I
yeah.
think when he gets upset, that he gets it to bleeding because the night that all this first went down, whenever they confronted, got BJ off the property the first night, um, Timmy was back at Eric's, and Eric said that Timmy came into the kitchen or whatever, and he just had blood running down his face where he had been picking at that
Poor
Oh.
thing.
sore. I know,
There's
and
a
Eric,
medication that they could give him to help with that because my little
right,
brother suffers with that too. My goodness, he rubbed his finger pretty much to the bone years ago because
Ooh.
it's just something. It's something in the brain. They can't help it. I mean, they
yeah,
literally,
Well, on
yeah.
top of that, black mold creates all kinds of physical things too. It can create
Yeah.
rashes and all kinds of nasty stuff. So
Yes.
it's probably a
Hmm.
combination
Poor
of
you know,
both
thing.
things.
Eric had been so attentive the last couple of weeks. He's had Timmy almost all the time, and he has, really tried to get that to heal up. And I noticed tonight on the live that Patrick had, Timmy was up close to the camera, and it looked 100 times better. It wasn't really even noticeable. So Eric, you really got that to heal up, and talked to Timmy about not picking at it, and
Mm-hmm.
so hope But I think that is just something he does when he gets upset.
Right.
But Betty came up
Yeah.
to Patrick's. Patrick said that Betty came up to his house tonight or this afternoon,
Oh,
and that said she had been getting phone calls from people that were telling her they were going to come and get Timmy and Lorraine and Ray and get them out of there. Just, I guess, various people really upset about the situation. And Patrick said she was really kind of scared and she wanted to take Timmy home. And he said he convinced her to let Timmy stay, but I heard the other guy a little bit later say Timmy didn't want to go home with her.
poor thing.
And I bet Timmy doesn't want to go home.
That's so sad.
Right. Can't blame
Yeah.
him.
Timmy loves
No.
his mother, but their life just consists of just being right there. And, Timmy's
Mhm.
been with Patrick and Eric, and he's really had fun and he's learning things. And I don't blame him for not wanting to go back. I mean, he loves his mother, but
Right.
it's got to be terribly boring. There's nothing to stimulate him there.
Well,
I,
yeah, and now that he's getting that, do you blame him? Shoot, I don't.
I wouldn't want to go back either. And it's clean, and he takes his baths. And Eric said that he had gotten into a habit, with every day you take your shower, that he would get up and take his shower on his own. And he took a shower before
Oh,
he went to bed at nighttime. And I mean, they
oh,
don't even have a place to take. I mean, think about it. They can't even
yeah,
take like a shower or a bath in that house. And I
that's
don't know
so
how,
sad.
I mean,
Ew, that's horrible.
Hmm.
yeah.
Then how do
And
they clean up?
they don't,
They
evidently. I,
don't.
I, I
Ew.
guess that maybe they just do like a wash off or something. I'm not sure how they would do it. Just they
Ew.
certainly aren't getting in the shower and a bathtub because if you look back at the videos, Eric had a and Patrick had a plumber come because they wanted to get the water um, back on so that Betty didn't have she could get Lorraine in the shower. And the plumber said that everything was so deteriorated under the floor that there was just no way that they could get anything workable put in there.
That's
And,
so
Mm.
sad.
yeah, and the toilet had a leak or something, and there was a water bill for $600
Oh
that
my
that
God.
Eric paid, and they had, I think, for a little while, really hadn't had a working toilet in that house either.
Oh my God.
That's
So
so sad.
I just don't understand how that
Hmm.
they can keep Ray and Lorraine and Timmy in that environment. I mean, if Larry and Betty want to stay there, more power to them. But those three deserve something better.
Right. Well, here, and this is like a complete different scenario, but um, the CYFD and these foster children sleeping in offices was like the best kept secret until one of them walked away and got hurt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to wait for an incident. It's stupid. You
It,
let
Mm-hmm.
all this crap happen right in front of you, but
Yeah.
somebody has to suffer. I don't know what kind of suffering you know what I mean. It's already bad as it is. Just what are you guys waiting for?
I know, and I
Somebody's
mean,
aware of what's going on. Come
Yeah.
on,
well, the whole world is because it's on video and everybody's
right?
watching the videos. And I mean, when you put up a picture of Timmy eating two sandwiches on Facebook, and an hour later you have 800 comments, people are
Hmm.
seeing, they're
What
this.
kind of sandwich?
I don't know. He had two sandwiches. I guess it was his dinner. Um,
Oh.
just I don't know, it looked like a ham sandwich or something, but Timmy likes bologna sandwiches. He eats those, and
Mm.
it's probably
That's
all
cute.
Patrick. Patrick can't really stand up for in long periods of time and cook, so I guess he just fixed Timmy some sandwiches. But he had posted a picture that Timmy said something about Timmy. He was double fisted and he had two sandwiches, and
It's
I mean,
funny.
I was just looking at the comments. Over 800 comments on that one photograph he posted. So people are seeing the situation and watching. Um, it's so like
But
2,000
nobody's acting.
comments
Yeah,
on some of those, and you would think the whole world's seeing it when you're trying to look through the comments, but probably,
right.
a lot of people, but not the whole world. But there's enough to where if I were working APS in that county with that much publicity, I would make sure that I got in there and did something about that.
Right.
Kitty Lover says, yeah, but these are mentally challenged adults. APS should be able to step in. Their house should have running water and a toilet. Sad, just so sad. I wish I could bring
Hmm.
Timmy home with me. I just love him.
I think everybody would take Timmy, but they were talking about sending, they would provide some hours, for a caregiver. I don't know a caregiver that would go there that would stay 8 hours in that house. And what could
Right.
they really do? There's no the water situation.
Well, the
Um,
black mold.
exactly. And the bugs. I mean, I saw cockroaches on that bathtub. And anybody that watched the videos
Yeah.
had to see those too. It's bad. I mean, it was bad when Mark was there filming, and it's worse now. It's just
Right.
terrible.
Ellie
Jesus
Mae's
freak.
got a comment here that got skipped over. I'm going to read it real quick. Maybe Quiet can fill her in on this. It says, I did see a little bit of that. Then Betty hid inside the house and called the cops to cancel the order of protection. At least that's what I understand.
Right.
Betty went in the house. I think Betty knew that that was canceled because the court date. And Betty made that trip into town with her grandson to get dog food, and he showed her things on Facebook and whatever. And I think just, trying, because, that would be his mother. BJ would be Brandon's mother, and Brandon is who took her to town. I probably just trying to convince her, you need to drop this on mom or whatever. And, Betty, she will talk out of both sides of her mouth. And so I really think when the truth comes out that she went that day and had that canceled and then didn't show up for court and it was, over and done with. And, Eric says that it was supposed to be 10 days. The court date was in 10 days, but it has not been 10 days since on the 4th. It was nowhere near 10 days. So I don't know. I think there's some questions that need to be answered about why was that court date on the 4th instead of, when it was supposed to have been, I think, next week. So something's not making sense, or at least not to me, about that. But Betty went into the house and she came back out and handed the phone to, I think, to Eric, and they said that it was canceled or something at that point and he stopped filming. But I think she went in there and probably called and said, "You need to tell him this." Um, I think she knew. I think she knew. I think she knew everything. And they tried to pretend like
Wow.
they didn't know that BJ was in that camper. That was flat
Mm-hmm.
out lying. They were just lying. And I don't blame Eric. I mean, I really don't. Um,
Mm-mm.
I don't think that he will. I think he will come back around to some extent, maybe because of Timmy, but I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if he washes his hands of it all, and which he says he's done with them, that except for Timmy. So I don't know what exactly his actions were going to be. I think he may just be taking some time to think about it.
Well,
Just
Deb
sad.
says no, the court date was for this past Thursday since no one showed up. The case was dropped. And then TG Chicago says court date is this coming Thursday.
It was supposed to be because they had to go back to court in 10 days. The protective order was only for 10 days. And Eric said the court date was, I think, Wednesday or Thursday of this coming week. And then all of a sudden, the court date was on the 4th. So something's not all right about that. Because I think Eric would have been at that court date with Betty. That's the whole reason he went back to West Virginia, was to get a protective order for Betty. And he would have made that court date because he's talked about that for the last week. And I don't think he knew it was on the 4th. I don't know how that happened. So,
Right.
you know, and then Patrick's live tonight, the guy that was there said he checked it and said it was on the 4th. So I wonder if it got moved and no one told Eric.
Denise says
Gee.
Betty concealed that order of protection when she went to buy dog food.
Hmm.
Oh, Christy hurt herself.
That's what I think. I think when she went to buy dog food, they probably never bought a bag of dog food either. But I think when she went with Brandon, that is Larry's grandson, who is BJ's son, and he came and got Betty, and I think that he convinced her while they were out, and she went and canceled that. It's exactly what I think, and that may have been on the 4th. I can't remember the date, so maybe I don't know. Maybe I have no idea how the court date got on the 4th because I don't think it was supposed to have been on the 4th. It was supposed to have been next Thursday. So something's not adding up about that. But I think Betty canceled it. I think when the truth comes out, Brandon convinced Betty to do it, and Betty canceled it, and she lied about it. They were going to keep lying about it.
That's
And
so sad.
so it's just amazing how they. I'm sorry, but are you that stupid? You're going to get a brand new house, and these three poor people who can't even talk for themselves, y- that's your family. Look where you're living at, Betty, and look what you could have had. And people everywhere just ready to buy it for you and want so so bad for life to be better and easier on
Right.
you. I don't. It's just hard to understand. Even
The cherry.
Codependency is a very wicked, wicked, wicked thing to have. I think she's codependent of
Yeah,
that whole
oh,
situation.
Denise says Eric gave the phone to Betty and then she went inside
Excuse
to
me.
talk to the person. She must have told them the order was terminated. Betty's the only one that can cancel it.
exactly. So Betty knew. Betty knew, and she lied. And
Wow.
she lied to Eric too when she said that she didn't know who was in that camper. But her and Larry both lied. If I was Eric, I mean, I don't blame you for being done with him. If I were him, I would try to get this three people removed from that house and get guardianship of Timmy or something, get him into a better place because he's there. It's not going to happen as long as that situation is like it is. Everybody just wanted the very best for them, and this is the second time this has happened. So, you know,
Starry Night says that house can't be rehabilitated. The mice are in charge. No one can go in there and clean that mess up without plumbing, let alone with plumbing, let alone without.
no, it's uncleanable. You know, it.
Yeah, black
There's no
mold.
way. I have I have never seen a house that bad, and we're just seeing bits from videos. I can only imagine what it smells like in there with 5 dogs.
Ugh.
And
Right.
Ray is incontinent, and that's not a good situation. He brought. You can only imagine. I don't want to. I don't want to. I hate saying bad things or things that aren't positive. But there's nothing positive to say about that situation.
Kitty Lover says his family has been like this for generations. It isn't easy to change. That is all they know. I think there is something with BJ and her dad.
There's something there. When Larry's camper burned down all the mysteriously across the roads, um, and he had, to my understanding, and I could be wrong, that there was a considerable amount of cash that some way I think Mark Laida had given to Betty, and that Larry took over there to safekeep. That was what I understood, that he was keeping that. And the camper mysteriously burns down, and a few days later, BJ's boyfriend posts a video holding hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, saying this is what you get when you work hard. Maybe Larry is in on the big conspiracy. I say maybe it's the big money heist. Who knows? But there's something BJ is holding on Larry. There, because Larry is allowing her to be more important than his, brothers and sisters. And, Larry's living there. He doesn't have anywhere else to live. And, you know, common sense would make you think he would want a better place to live because he's probably, as far as being intelligent, probably the most intelligent of the family right now. So I think
Heavens.
there's more
Oh,
going
go
on
ahead.
there.
Um, Heaven's Baby says check out Patrick's criminal records. Some are on my community wall. Patrick is on 1 year probation that started last month.
Yeah, he told about that tonight, about what happened. He said that one of the things he had got something about a police officer. He didn't do what they told him or something. That one got dismissed. And he said he was in a relationship with a girl that didn't work out the way he wanted it to. And I think that he may have stalked her some. And also there was some photographs of a certain nature, and he had threatened to show them. And I think that he ended up pleading guilty to that, and that may be what that probation is about. But he was honest, he told about it, what had happened. His side, anyway, I don't know. And I'm not saying that that's right, what he did, but, he did make it public, so. I think he's had some other things too. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I still think that you know, what he feels towards Timmy's sincere.
Victoria says Larry is controlling Betty. BJ